Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about nutrition while we're deployed, and this is something that I myself had to deal with. I actually have two Agogi training clients right now that I'm training as far as nutrition and fitness and some weight loss stuff. One person is in Afghanistan, the other person is in Iraq, and so it gets complicated, right? You want to achieve certain objectives, you have certain missions that you have to take care of, and you need to, consume calories and those macronutrients to get you to perform, but also in a way to where you can accomplish your fitness and diet goals. And it's not easy, right? Because you're not in control of your food. So before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notified when these videos come live. Follow me on Instagram so I can hang out with you and answer you there a little bit more daily there. And text me if you have any questions about this subject. You want to see a certain video, subscribe to my text communication, which is right there. And we can talk that way too. Lots of ways to communicate. So get into it. Many of you guys know, but I've deployed on a MEU. I've deployed to Turkey. I've been in Iraq. I've been to Afghanistan. So a bunch of different ways. So I've been deployed to places where they call it DFAC. Anyways, it's where the big chow hall is, and there's a million different options. Those are great. And I've also been in places where you're eating MREs or hot plates that are getting delivered. When we were my last deployment with MARSOC, we were up in Bala Murghab and we had our own little chow hall. So it was like our mini little DFAC that, you had your three main groups and a bunch of little snacks, and that was it. So how do you diet? How do you work out and achieve this goal? It's really simple, actually. You focus on your main foods. So let's say a protein. I'm going to focus on my protein. So I'm going to get a piece of meat, whatever that meat may be. Pork, chicken, beef, strips, whatever. Is it the highest quality? No, but it is what it is. So you grab that, and then you go and you get your succotash, whatever vegetables, your mixed vegetables, whatever it may be, a tomato, mixed tomatoes and beans and carrots and stuff. And it's not always that great, but that's your carbohydrates, and your fat's going to be with your protein. If you are trying to lose weight and work out while deployed, then you stay away from your Otis Spunkmeyer muffins and your cookies and your cakes and pies and all the other bullshit and the Pop-Tarts that they give you out there, because there's a ton of options out there. But none of those is going to reach you to what your goals that you want. And again, it depends on your goals. Now, if you're sitting on a base deployed and you're not actively like out in the Ville, you're not out, patrolling, you're not doing something where you're burning, 5,000 to 10,000 calories a day, then you can do this. Now, if you are doing that job, if you are going out there and burning those 5,000 to 10,000 calories a day, then you need to eat more. I mean, you have to eat more carbohydrates. You need more fat for energy. Your protein numbers need to match what your protein goals are. So if you're trying to lose weight, 0.75. If you're trying to gain weight, 1.25 to 1.5, depending on what you're doing. 1.25 is probably enough. Per gram per body weight is what I'm trying to say. So how do you track that? Man, you really don't. It's a guess. So the way that Josh and I did this, and I'm gonna get him up here, and actually I'm gonna show Austen Alexander here. Actually, you know what? Let's just play the Austen Alexander clip. All right. So here's my question.
Yes.
All right. So you were deployed to Bahrain, right?
I was stationed there. Yeah.
You were stationed there.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll call that deployed. You had to eat at a chow hall, right?
Basically, there's a place called Oasis.
Okay. So what we're talking about in this video is deployed nutrition.
Yes.
Because I get a lot of questions. I'm sure you do too. Like, what do I do while I'm deployed? So like, what's 30 seconds of your advice? Like my thing is certain selections of the chow hall, right? Instead of like, because there's a million freaking things to eat there. So you focus on, my advice would be like, focus on those key proteins and carbohydrates, and then supplementation with protein shakes. Is it the best thing always? No, it's not always the best thing. But while you're overseas, it's like, that's what you do. So what's Austen Alexander's tidbit of advice?
So I always try to start with the most whole food. So let's say if you have a choice between a pot pie and a choice between a fried chicken breast, I'm always going to go for the chicken breast, because in the pot pie you don't know how much fat is in the sauce, how they're making the chicken, and plus it's a big mixture of food. If you get the fried chicken, you can scrape the breading off if you want to, cut up the chicken, it's a whole protein. Same way with like Alfredo sauce and noodles versus a piece of bread, or versus oatmeal. You focus on, like you were saying, those main categories of foods: proteins, carbs, and a little bit of fats.
Yeah.
So that's what even if you have to pick the chicken out of the chicken Alfredo, make that your protein.
And so keep it simple.
Keep it simple, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the theme that we're going with as well. And because you know as well as I do, when you're over there, there's Pop-Tarts, there's Otis Spunkmeyer muffins and cookies and cakes and pies, and
it's really easy to stress eat. You're having a bad day. Oh, I want to shove 6 muffins down my throat. I've done it.
Or you're on watch or patrol, or there's a million things. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought I could add something else in there, is if you fail to prepare your food, you're preparing to fail your diet. So be sure, if you have access to food and if you can bring it, be sure you bring it, because the options that you're going to watch, they're not going to be premium.
Facts. There you go. All right. Well, man, I appreciate it. Okay, so we've got a plan, and or we will have a plan, and then while we're out there, we'll link up. We'll do something fun. Okay, cool, man. All right, keep America safe.
Will do. You too.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
So he's a great guy. You can follow him on YouTube. He's got 476,000 subscribers. He does a bunch of stuff with different individuals with obstacle courses and whatnot. He's currently in the Navy. He's about to be out of the Navy, and we are linking up in the end of next month in October. He'll be on terminal leave, and we're going to do something fun out in California together. He is also a BPN athlete, so you can, link up with BPN. Must be a trend there. But so that's the kind of the concept is. So like we would go in there, Josh and I would sit down, we'd go in the chow hall, we would get a piece of chicken, a piece of beef, sliced Euro meat. That's our protein and our fat. And then I would have some carbs, whether it be the vegetables, the potatoes, something like that. I wouldn't overdo it. Maybe a piece of an English muffin or a piece of toast with some butter. Here's the kicker, though. This is where you really succeed, is supplementation. And supplementation is just something that you have to do. And over there, I would set my phone or my watch or whatever my reminders would be, and it would be like, okay, go to the breakfast. I'd go have my breakfast, and I would think proteins, carbs, fats. That's the way I would think. Grab my protein, grab my carbs, grab my fat. So say, for instance, it would be like eggs and bacon, eggs for the protein, bacon for the fat, and a bowl of cut fresh fruit or something like that. If I didn't have that, then it would be, a piece of toast with some butter and some eggs, and they typically always have those sort of things while you're deployed. And then about 2 hours. So between my morning meal and then my lunch meal, I would have my protein shake. So 2 scoops, about 50 grams of protein, boom, done. And then have my lunch meal, same thing. Piece of chicken, some potatoes, nothing else. And then 2 hours later, 2 scoops of protein. Okay. And then after that, dinner, And then before bed, 2 scoops of protein. So I knew I was at least getting 50 grams of protein or 150 grams of protein per day just off my supplementation. And then off of that would be I would get all my carbs, my fats, and the remainder amount of protein per your meal. Because you believe it or not, you don't have a ton of protein in a lot of those meals. I mean, you're probably hitting 20, 25 grams, per meal, depending on what it is of protein. And you're definitely going to get your carbs and your fats through that, because typically chow hall food is really high carb, high fat stuff. So that's where we kind of leave it. And then I basically would do, now knowing what I know now, I would get all the BPN stuff, strong greens. And by no means is the BPN ad, even though you can save money at BPN using code Raider. But I would have my strong greens, my strong reds, my joint formula, and I would be taking creatine. I actually did take creatine while I was deployed, just to help out there, because the quality of food that you're getting while you're deployed just isn't there. And you can complain all you want, but at the end of the day, you're freaking deployed, man. So deal with it. You signed up for it. You literally volunteered for it. So that's pretty much it. Let's see if we can get Mr. Honsberger on the phone and see what he has to say. So real quick.
Okay.
So I've got the topic of the video is going to be basically how to eat nutrition-wise while deployed. And I wanted to get your 30 seconds, your thoughts.
When are you going to start the recording?
I'm already recording.
Okay, thanks. I guess step one would be to do the best that you can.
Yeah.
And that may sound self-explanatory, but that's like where everything has to start. Is you always have to start with the best thing that's humanly possible that you can do. So make the best choices that you can, because those options are not provided for you, or they may not be provided for you. So whatever is given to you, eat as much of what's given to you that you can. That's going to be appropriate. From there, try and stick to your meat and veggies, and then some sort of a carb source, meaning potato or rice or something like that. But don't hit the custard line. Your all-you-can-eat ice cream buffet, stay away from that. The custard pie might taste great after a mission.
I was laughing about, I was like, just leave the Otis Spunkmeyer muffins and cookies and Pop-Tarts alone.
Otis Spunkmeyer, and then there was the grandma ones too.
Oh, that's right. The grandma's kitchen or whatever it was. Right.
As good as they taste, I guess at times maybe have a nibble, but it's not meant to be in your cargo pocket for your fuel source.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it. It depends on what your job is, right? If you're out burning 10,000 calories a day on patrol, that's one thing. But if you're on you're just deployed sitting on a fob somewhere, that's a different thing.
True.
And it's based off your goals.
I'm not trying to deter anybody from ever having a treat from time to time, but you have to understand how much and how often that treat comes into play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if Otis Spunkmeyer or Grandma Cookies, tends to come in your mouth, like you don't have to eat 4 of them. You don't even have to eat a whole one. Like you could have, a quarter of it. You could have a bite of it and then
toss it.
It becomes your treat. Then it's your treat. Otherwise, it's just something else you're constantly intaking, and it's not really beneficial at that point. So.
Yeah. I also told them that it was like our religion, that it was like meal, 2 hours, shake, meal, 2 hours, shake, meal, 2 hours, shake, even if it didn't taste good. It was like
dinner too.
Yeah, dinner too.
But dinner and dinner too always consisted pretty much of the same stuff. It was like, like a good high protein source, vegetables if we can get them.
Yeah.
I don't care whether they're steamed or fried or
it doesn't matter. Right.
When it comes down to a situation or circumstance like that, like greens come to greens, proteins come to proteins, because you're not in charge of the preparation of how they're being prepped.
Right.
So make smart choices.
That's pretty much all you can do, right?
Yeah.
You balance
Be on top of your game.
you balance what you do with your goals, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, it also comes down to, like you just said, is depending on what your duty is or what your MLS's your requirements are. Is if you're someone who's at a very high operational tempo, your intake is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Your optional choice might be a little bit different. You might be limited to MREs or mountain house meals or something like that. So you just might have to intake certain things at a period of time, but just don't make it a routine habit to constantly be on a massive caloric intake higher than what it really
than what you're burning.
And especially if you start to feel extremely sluggish after you intake a certain amount of stuff, that might be your personal governor to kind of down-regulate a little bit and reduce your intake.
Yeah. Well, cool. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Honsberger drops some knowledge on you. All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye. Love you, bud.
Bye. That's really it. So, and he brought up a good point is what you're calorically burning and what you're at. And how are you going to do that? Like, I don't know if you're going to have an Apple Watch or you're going to have a Garmin or anything that you're going to have that's tracking somewhat of calories, even a Fitbit while you're deployed. We didn't have any of that when we were deployed. But now there is these options that you can have these sort of things, and you can get the UAG cases to make these kind of more kind of safer to use while out and about, or I mean, whatever it is that you're doing. But say your BMR is, 2,000 calories, you're doing a bunch of patrols. So maybe you're burning 600-700 calories for work. So, you're eating 2,200, 2,300, 2,400 calories a day, and you're still in the deficit. If your goal is to lose weight while you're deployed, you 100% can do that. You can 100% lose weight while you're deployed, sticking to those food groups, supplementating with protein. So you're getting your protein. So on that, the reason why I've hit the protein so much is if everybody has a certain amount of muscle mass on them. You want to keep that muscle mass on, so you want to eat that protein per pound of body weight, so that you are maintaining what you have, if not building more protein or more muscle mass. The worst thing you can do is like eat half your body weight in protein. What's going to happen is, you're going to lose weight, but you're also going to lose your muscle. And I'm guessing that is not what you want. Even if we have a client that's 50 pounds overweight, he's got muscle on him. He's got to carry that 50 pounds around. I want to keep every ounce of that muscle on him. I just want to burn the fat. And by eating protein, you're going to do that. Not only that, we can talk about, being anabolic, and the more anabolic you are, the more fat you burn. The more anabolic you are, the higher testosterone is, easier to put on muscle. And then the more fat you burn. So you just create this whole cycle of like burning fat and building muscle, which is what we want. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'd be so stoked to get more into this subject. And so I think I could do another video on this, but I really need your questions to kind of fire this up. So once I launch this video, I'm hoping there's just hundreds of questions, and I can kind of get a theme into them of what that is. And then we can kind of develop this topic again and do another one. So that's it. So that's really here it is in a nutshell. Pick a meat. That's your meat source. That's your protein / fat. Stick with your carbohydrates, your vegetables, potatoes, something like that. Your rice, that's your carbohydrates. And then go over to BPN, get yourself some protein powder, use code Raider, save yourself some money, and supplement those shakes with 3 shakes a day. And then we'll go from there. And if you're struggling out there and you're interested, go to agogitraining.com, and Josh and I we'll just set up a plan for you, and we'll coach you through the whole process and help you get to where you want to be. All right. You guys know the deal. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, drop me a comment. Let me know if you know somebody deployed that's interested in this. Share this video with them. And then you guys know the deal after that. Never quit, never surrender. We always keep moving forward. We'll see you in the next video.